JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, police ID 2 people in Mandeville mob killing. Superintendent Lloyd Darby, head of the Manchester Police, says 2 people have been identified on the National Closed Circuit Television CCTV surveillance system, Jamaica Eye, in last Friday's mob killing of 62-year-old Chieftain Campbell. Campbell, who was described as a well-respected citizen and dedicated community member of Victoria Town in southern Manchester, died after a crowd of people beat him on Lower Manchester Road days before his wedding, which would have been today. It is really an embarrassment to any semblance of public order and civility, Darby told Thursday morning sitting of the Manchester Municipal Corporation. From Jamaica Eye footage, 2 people were identified as to have taken part in that beating and they are being sought. There is an announcement of the footage on the way, which we expect will identify more people who took part in that incident, he added. He reiterated his appeal for people who witnessed the incident and videotaped it to come forward. Come forward and give a statement. Whatever was captured on the phone has no use, unless you have somebody who comes in and states that they were the recorders of that footage, he said. Veteran broadcaster Barbara Gludon dies days after her husband. Tributes are pouring in following the death of distinguished broadcaster, journalist and playwright Barbara Gludon. Mrs. Gludon died on Wednesday night in hospital, days after her husband, Ansel Gludon. Mrs. Gludon was 87. Mom's gone looking for her husband, her daughter Anya said. Having just left high school, Mrs. Gludon entered the field of journalism in her late teens when she was hired by the Gleaner. She was the moving force behind the creation of a supplement, the children's own newspaper. She did a social affairs feature using the name Kitty Kingston, as well as her popular Stella Say column. Her last major role at the Gleaner was as editor of the Star, after which she left the newspaper. Mrs. Gludon served for a time as deputy director of tourism in the 1970s before taking up her long-running stint as host of Radio Jamaica's Hotline. On Thursday, Gary Allen, CEO of the RJ Gleaner Communications Group, of which Radio Jamaica is a part, expressed condolence to Mrs. Gludon's family. Noting her tremendous contributions to both the Gleaner and Radio Jamaica, Mr. Allen described her as a consummate RJ Gleaner product, as she worked at an excellent level and for long periods in both arms of the organization before we came together. We appreciate the foundation that she has laid for us to build on, and we'll continue to do our best to make sure that Mrs. G's dream of us continuing to reach out to people all over Jamaica and to do excellent journalism is one that we fulfill, he said. George Davis, president of the Press Association of Jamaica, recalled Mrs. Gludon's multifaceted life in media and beyond. The history of local journalism, media and theatre is multi-layered. It's rich. Many of these layers, much of that richness was built, was added through the work of Miss G. She was inspirational, ferocious and dignified in her journalism. Theatre benefited from her flair for the avant-garde. Miss G will be missed, but the monument that is her work, her life's work, will never be buried by the sands of time. Businessman charged for St. James cocaine bust granted $1.5 million bail. Oral Johnson, the businessman who was arrested after reportedly being held with over 19 pounds of cocaine in St. James, was offered $1.5 million bail in absentia when his case was mentioned in the St. James Parish Court yesterday. Johnson, a 45-year-old restaurant and bar operator for Garden Westmoreland address, is charged with possession of, dealing in, and taking steps to export and trafficking 19 pounds and 10.98 ounces of cocaine. The court was told that Johnson, like other accused persons in custody, was not transported to court amid the fallout from the industrial unrest at the National Water Commission. During the bail hearing, Johnson's attorney Martin Thomas told presiding parish judge Sasha Ashley that he had a medical condition that would be difficult to treat while in custody. Thomas also noted that Johnson had cooperated with the police and was not a flight risk. Additionally, attorney-at-law Henry McCurdy made a successful application for the release of the motor vehicle in which the cocaine had reportedly been found, as it had been rented from a company in Westmoreland. The vehicle was released to its owner under a $200,000 bond. The case against Johnson will be mentioned on July 7, when it is expected that he will make his first appearance. Johnson was arrested and taken into custody during a police operation in Coral Gardens, St. James on April 26. The operation led to the seizure of $3.8 million and 30,000 Canadian dollars, valued in local currency at a combined $600 million at the 3-story house. Samuda condemns air traffic controllers' strike. Minister of Labour and Social Security Carl Samuda has strongly condemned the strike action taken by air traffic controllers in their dispute with the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, JCAA. In a brief statement Thursday, the minister noted that their dispute is currently pending before the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, IDT, and is being addressed therein. The minister noted that reports have been circulating that the air traffic controllers are at work but are not carrying out their normal duties. I am encouraging the tribunal to take the appropriate steps to ensure normalcy is returned to the country's airports, he said. Minister with responsibility for information Robert Morgan said Thursday that air traffic controllers took industrial action over concerns about a reclassification exercise. The parties are currently meeting at the offices of the JCAA in an effort to settle the disputes. Tourism industry sources say that at least 12,000 expected visits from abroad will be affected by Thursday's actions. We are sure that a number of flights will be affected, and we have in excess of 10,000 to 12,000 people who will be affected if the disruption continues throughout the day, Ministry of Tourism strategist Delano Sivright said. The strike follows similar action taken by National Water Commission NWC workers, which started Tuesday and ended Wednesday night, and precedes threats by the Jamaica Civil Service Association JCSA to start protest action over similar issues at any time now. Businessman shot dead as he slept. Armed men fatally shot a businessman as he stepped at his house in Retirement District in Little London, Westmoreland, Thursday morning. That is 59-year-old Kenroy Parkinson. Reports from the Little London police are that about 6 a.m., Parkinson's son went outside the house and was accosted by two men armed with handguns. The men took the child into the house and fired several shots, hitting the sleeping Parkinson. They stole a TV before escaping in a white Toyota Axle motor car that was waiting in the yard. The police were alerted and arrived to find Parkinson in a pool of blood. The scene was processed and his body removed to the morgue. Investigations are ongoing. JDF undertaking search and rescue for men missing at sea in St. Ann. The Jamaica Defence Force JDF is reporting that a search and rescue operation continues in St. Ann for two men at sea. The men, identified as Jerome and John, went fishing on Friday, May 6, aboard the vessel Isabella. When they did not return home, the boat's owner Greg Samuels made a report to the JDF on Monday. The report was made after all his attempts to communicate with the vessel proved futile. The Isabella is said to be white and black, 28 feet in length, and has a 250 HP Yamaha 4-stroke engine. The JDF says it has dispatched vessels and aircraft to conduct a search. However, neither the boat nor the men have been recovered. The search continues. The JDF is advising all vessels transiting the north coast of Jamaica to be on the lookout for the boat, render assistance where possible, and report any sighting of the vessel or crew to the Coast Guard. How to make a report? Call 876-322-6602 or 876-322-6599 or the JDF tip line at 876-837-8888. Residents chop would-be robber. A man was allegedly caught trying to rob a shop in Londalo, Westmoreland, was reportedly beaten and chopped by residents before being handed over to the police on Monday. The accused has been identified as Barrington Wollaston, 48, otherwise called Steve, of Londalo District. He is facing charges of shop breaking and larceny. Reports by the Little London Police are that about 1:15 a.m., the owner of a shop who resides in the Londalo Phase 4 scheme was awoken after hearing strange sounds coming from the shop. He went to investigate, and after checking his surveillance cameras, he discovered Wollaston breaking into his shop. The shop operator raised an alarm and alerted other residents who rushed to assist. They cornered Wollaston inside the shop with a quantity of cigarettes in his possession. He was reportedly beaten and chopped several times by the angry residents, who later alerted the police and handed Wollaston over to them. He was transported to the Salvamore Hospital, where he was treated, charged, and admitted under police guard. 4 more COVID-19 deaths, 160 new cases. Jamaica on Wednesday reported 160 new cases of the COVID-19 and 4 virus-related deaths in the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of cases recorded on the island since the start of the pandemic to 131,704 and the death toll to 2,991. Of the newly reported cases, there were 95 females and 64 males, with ages ranging from 1 day to 108 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew 40, St. James 42, St. Anne 4, St. Catherine 37, Westmoreland 15, Hanover 2, St. Mary 1, Clarendon 2, Manchester 3, Portland 3, St. Thomas 8 and Trelawney 3. Meanwhile, the latest fatalities are an 83-year-old female and a 56-year-old male, both from St. James. They both died in March 2021. An 89-year-old female from St. James, who died in February 2022. An 87-year-old male from St. Catherine, who died in May 2022. According to the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the country also recorded 109 new recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 84,818. The country's positivity rate from the latest batch of testing is 15.6%. There are 1,525 confirmed active cases on the island. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.